President Biden got it wrong, but you know what? So did I. And I want to do something that I wish more politicians would do and admit that I was wrong. And the great thing about admitting when you're wrong is that you can identify why you're wrong, what, where your faults were, and then you can start to address those issues with solutions and then ultimately fix the problem. So what did President Biden and myself get wrong? Well, Russia invades Ukraine, and we think, okay, let's hit Russia where it hurts. Let's cripple their economy. And a great way to cripple a country's economy, figure out their big exports, and then stop buying them. Makes sense to me. Very logical. What are Russia's big exports? Energy, right? Natural gas, oil, all that sort of stuff. But if we get together with Europe and stop buying, their economy is going to start to crumble and crumble very quickly. Let's just hit it with a baseball bat. But you know what's happened? The exact opposite. In a new study that's been released, Russia's oil revenue soars despite sanctions. Wait, what are you talking about? We're not buying. Europe is not buying. What do you mean Russia has soaring revenues? Well, as the article goes on to say, revenues from fossil fuels soared to records in the first 100 days of its war on Ukraine. Russia earned what is very likely a record. The current rate of revenue is unprecedented. And then you see words like record and unprecedented. And it goes to say, what is going on? How is any of this right? What do you mean they have record revenues? That is crazy. Well, as the article says, because prices are unprecedented. And I don't need to say much about this. All you got to do is drive to your local gas station, and you know exactly what I mean. Gas prices are insane because the price per barrel of oil is absolutely insane. Because of all this, yeah, I mean, it is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but still that doesn't really answer the question about, but how is Russia capitalizing on this? Because if we're not giving Russia that amount of money per barrel, if Europe's not, well, then what exactly is going on? And once again, the article goes on to explain European Union also reduced imports of Russian crude oil, and it says also because it's talking about European Union along with the United States. But that dip was made up by India and the United Arab Emirates. So now the pieces of the puzzle start to come together because sure, from Russia's point of view, they lost some customers, but they went out and found new customers. And by finding new customers, that led to no net change in Russia's oil export volumes, meaning it's the same. From their customer perspective, hey, we just found new customers. The only thing that's different is who the customers are. And yeah, it was more than just a couple of countries. You can see that China was the largest importer, edging out Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands. Japan was the top producer of Russian coal. So as you can see here, there's all sorts of countries that are filling in and becoming new customers. And in hindsight, yes, I admit, what was I thinking? I guess, hindsight's always 20/20. And if you got this right from the start, I commend you. Well done. But for me, as foolish as I feel, because it seems so obvious now, you know what? If you're going to hit Russia and say, we're going to stop buying, well, you should probably make sure that you get a lot more potential customers on board that are also going to say, no. Yeah, I'll join you. I won't buy either. Because that is not what has happened at all. There are a bunch of other countries that, they're like, let's let the war happen. And we're just going to keep buying from Russia. And you can see here that the United States is importing refined oil products from countries like the Netherlands and India. Now think about that. Do you remember those country names? They are the countries that are buying oil from Russia. So that oil that we're buying most likely contains Russian crude. A loophole for oil from Russia to make its way to America, which is clearly completely backwards, right? The irony there is just, come on. Again, I'm not saying this to trash Biden because I got it wrong too. But we do need to admit, all right, we got it wrong, but is there anything that we can do? And the question comes down to, it's those prices of oil. And here's in my mind what can happen is we can say, okay, the price of oil is really high, and we know that those countries we listed off, they really don't have any loyalty to anybody. They're just out there serving their best interest, and I'm not going to open up some sort of philosophical argument on that, but we do know that they are there to serve their best interest. So is there anything that we could do to start to manipulate those prices? Because if price per barrel goes down, then you know what? Russia will make less money. But here's the other thing is we know who Russia's customers are. So is there anything that we as the United States could do in order to, dare I say, steal those customers from Russia? So now it's double whammy. Not only is Russia not able to sell those prices at that, price per barrel, but they don't even have customers. Well, how can you steal those customers that, again, what we know about them is they have no loyalties. They're trying to serve themselves. Well, you know what we can do? We can offer them oil at a lower price than what Russia is offering it to them. But okay, that would assume, Clay, but does the United States actually have access to oil and natural gas and coal? Why, yes. Yes, we do. So what my proposal would be is, let's go to these other countries that we know are their customers and say, hey, you know what? And I'm just going to make this up to keep the math. Let's say that oil is $120 per barrel. Let's go to China. Let's go to India. Let's go to Europe, Germany, Netherlands, those other countries and say, hey, you know what? We get it. We understand Russia is selling you oil at 120, a barrel. But you know what? We're going to sell it to you at 118, 117, 115. And because, once again, I keep reiterating this because we have to know our customers, and we know these customers, they don't care. They're in it for themselves. So via them being in it for themselves, now they get to do something pretty neat. They get to say, hey, look, we're not helping out Russia. But I mean, really, it's because they're getting a better price. But hey, we'll give them the PR. They'll get to say, we're not helping Russia. And they get good prices. And then, of course, from our point of view, it's not like we're doing this out of the goodness of our hearts per se. We're going to be making a bunch of money as a country. Dare I say we might even run a trade surplus. We might actually able to bring in more money than what we spend. How great would that be for a change? I think that would be a pretty great thing. But I know what you're saying. Well, Clay, yeah, but Russia could come and say, okay, fine. We won't set records anymore, but let's go to 110 per barrel. Well, you know what? Now those countries, they're going to go back to Russia. Russia's going to start making money. But what can we do? Well, let's go offer it to 107. And so what's going on with the price per barrel? It's dropping and dropping and dropping, which, yes, doesn't mean that Russia's economy just goes kaput. No, but does it mean that they're at least no longer setting records and having unprecedented sales? No, because the price per barrel is dropping. And because of that, guess what is happening for us back here? We're not only running trade surpluses, making more money than what we bring in. We're actually getting lower gas prices ourselves. So that would be my solution. Is okay. We in our mistake, we figured out what countries basically have no loyalties and they're going to be serving their self-interest. And we have a strategy to be able to get a piece of that because we actually have the resource. Right? If we were Antarctica, I don't know, does Antarctica have oil? You get the point though. If we were some country that does not have any of this, then we can't really offer any solutions. But we as the United States do. We can do this. Okay, so that's the solution. So Mr. Biden, we got a problem though, and hopefully you can change your mind here. But as you can see here, Biden vows to end fossil fuel. Biden denied the donors, association to the fossil fuel industry. Taking her hand, he said, I want you to look at my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuels. Okay, Mr. Biden, that's not exactly a very good attitude to making oil companies feel welcome. And as any business owner, I mean, if you are in a business and the head of the government is not exactly looking, they don't have really a favorable opinion of you and they're guaranteeing to end you, what are you going to do from a business standpoint? You're probably going to tap the brakes and say, okay, I'm a business. I need to manage my risk. And part of that risk is I'm not going to start deploying a bunch of capital to do all sorts of things when I know that the general atmosphere is, well, quite frankly, very hostile against me. That's just common sense. I'm not trying to sit here and imply that like I'm some sort of business mastermind. That is very common sense. As someone that has a YouTube channel, if Biden came out and said, I guarantee you, I'm going to end those YouTubers, I'd be saying, okay, well, I'm going to tread very lightly now. I'm definitely not going to start to be buying new pieces of equipment and doing this, that, and the other because, I mean, why would I take on that risk of buying new stuff and, deploying a bunch of money if apparently Biden wants to end YouTubers, right? That would be bad business sense on my part. So, okay, Mr. Biden, what I would say is this. Hopefully you can have a change of heart because you realize we got some problems on our hands. So how do you prove that you're having a change of heart? You can't sit out there and just say stuff. You certainly can't blame the oil companies because, I mean, you're the one that created the hostile environment. So just give them credit where credit's due. They're operating in a very risk-controlled way, and you can't blame them in that regard. But you can show that you're going to change your attitude towards them. And a couple quick things that you could do that I think would fix the problem is step number one. Now, I'm not saying to do this because I'm saying it fixes the problem like that, but it shows an attitude change. It shows an overall change of, okay, we're going to change the atmosphere. Get the Keystone Pipeline back online. Again, before you start typing in the comment section, I'm not saying that all of a sudden crashes oil prices. I'm saying it illustrates a change of attitude. And we need a change of attitude if these oil companies are going to start pumping all this oil, pumping all this natural gas and get things flowing. The second thing, because again, what they're going to say, rightfully so, is, yeah, but as soon as oil prices come back down, as soon as all this ends, if you're just going to go right back to hating us, well, then we're going to have spent all this money and now we're caught with our pants down. So the second thing to avoid this is you got to also put something 10 years, and I don't even know the term, some sort of 10, kind of like a hall pass, a 10-year hall pass that says, we're not going to come at you, we're not going to change policies. That way you know that any sort of capital investments you make are good to go for the next 10 years. If you make that sort of pledge, the oil will flow and things are going to get great for everybody. We're going to have, Russia's going to start making less money. We at home are going to get less prices. We're actually going to be selling oil and natural gas all around the world, and we have a ton of it. So we're going to be bringing in all sorts of revenue. Like I said, we might even run a trade surplus for once, and it's been quite a while. So that is what I would recommend. Let's get things flowing. Let's change your attitude, and not only, you can't just say you want to change your attitude, but show people, and by doing those couple steps, I think that would make a great difference. So that is how I think this all boils down, makes the most sense. By all means, leave your opinions down below. I can't promise I'm going to get into some sort of not heated debate, but some sort of massive discussion because I don't have all day to go back and forth. So I may not engage. If anything, I'll just say thanks for watching or thanks for the thoughts. But still, I would love to at least read your opinion. So I can promise I'll read your opinion, but if I'm going to get into some debate with you, I'm not able to necessarily commit to that because I just don't know how many people and how many opinions we'll have. Maybe everybody will say, I agree, Clay. That would be nice, but I understand that not everybody's going to agree. But like I said, I got it wrong. A lot of people, I think, got it wrong. I mean, to think that Russia would now be reporting these record revenues is just completely backwards. But in hindsight, I mean, it makes total sense because some people, they just found new customers. But I say, let's go get those customers. So leave your comments down below if you agree, disagree. If you think you have any other ideas, then yeah, let's come up with some solutions so we can get the problem fixed. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.